Hey guys, it's Holly. So today I wanted to talk about one of my most anticipated sets of the year, and that is the LEGO Ideas Sesame Street. Now, I am a massive fan of Sesame Street. I used to have an Elmo plushie, and my sister would have Cookie Monster, and we'd make little shows out of it, and it was like a whole thing. It's like Sesame Street was a massive part of my childhood, and like not even just the show, just like how much I would play with those toys as a kid and like make videos about it. So this set to me is really, really special, and I am so excited for the minifigures especially. And when I saw that this was announced as a LEGO Ideas set, I knew instantly that I had to get it, and I don't have any other LEGO Ideas sets. There are definitely some that I've looked at and really, really wanted, and definitely some that I do regret buying as well, but definitely for me, Sesame Street was a must buy. This is probably the last set I'm going to buy this year. I can't see myself buying too many more, if any, and I'm really excited to get my hands on this. Now, this is an 18+ set, and I am going to make a completely separate video on this because I have a feeling LEGO Ideas is just going to be strictly 18+ for now on, because for Sesame Street, which is primarily a kids show, yes, this version that they've depicted in the set isn't exactly the newer style of Sesame Street. However, essentially it is a kids show. Though looking at this thing, it doesn't look like a very hard build. So in Australia, this set retails for $200, and in the US it retails for $820, and this set has 1,368 pieces, so it's not going to be too big of a build. And it is set 21324. I'm super excited to get into it, so let's have a look. So here is Sesame Street all built up, and I had a lot of fun building this set, and I can definitely say that this is not an 18+ build. I don't think it was too much harder than probably even the Hogwarts Astronomy Tower. I feel like that's the kind of level this was at, although due to this building in the center here, it definitely reminds me a lot more of Diagon Alley, and even that I feel like could have been a 14+ set. So if you are looking at this and you are younger than 18, definitely don't let that number scare you away, because this build isn't complicated. I think most people should be able to do this, but also it's just a gorgeous set. I love all of the colors in this and the minifigures. I cannot tell you how excited I was when I saw Big Bird in the bag. So let's have a look at them now. So first up, we have the most iconic figure of all of them probably, and that is Elmo. And Elmo growing up was my favorite. So I'm really excited to have him in Lego form, and I think Lego did a fantastic job, although when you look at it like this, it does look kind of funny because he is looking up. Like from where I'm sitting, it's fine, and I feel like in person definitely looks a lot better than it does. But let me just show you. If I bring the camera up slightly and kind of tilt it down, it might look slightly better. No, not really. Well, anyway, looks much better in person on his head. Now, the big thing for Sesame Street was this is an Ideas set, and all of these characters have specially molded heads, and I honestly think LEGO couldn't have done this set without doing it. I think it just wouldn't have done them justice, and considering what they've done with The Simpsons previously, I think you really had to do it with something like this, and I'm really glad they did, because Elmo looks absolutely fantastic. This headpiece is incredible, and it is a solid plastic. I love it. Interestingly though, it is dual molded. As you can see, it is white on the inside to get those eyes, which is something I honestly didn't know and didn't think about until I actually got this minifigure, but I absolutely love Elmo. He is adorable, and I love the texturing that they have put on his head. I kind of wish they did put some on the front and back of his torso. I think that would have made this figure even better. Besides that though, I think Elmo's absolutely fantastic, and I'm so happy to have him. Next up is another fan favorite, and that is Cookie Monster, and I love how he turned out as well. And funnily enough, before I built this set, I went back through and watched a bunch of old Sesame Street shorts and things like that, and it really made me realize how much of a real blob Cookie Monster is compared to Elmo. So when you look at them side by side, I'm really glad that Cookie Monster has this thicker neck, because that is so true of the actual Cookie Monster in the show. He doesn't have kind of that floating head that Elmo has, so that's such a nice detail. And also, just like Elmo, he does have all of that fur printed on the back, and I love how they've given him his googly eyes as well. It makes me so happy. Cookie Monster also does come with 2 cookies. However, I've just put one of them in the spare pieces drawer, and I've just gave him one to hold for now, even though we all know with Cookie Monster it is more the merrier. And just like Elmo, I think they've done a fantastic job. Yep, just torso printing would have been nice. Unlike Elmo though, I don't actually think he does have a dual molded head, and if so, you can't actually tell from the inside. But overall, I think they've done a really good job with Cookie Monster. I just love all the minifigures in this set, if you couldn't tell. Now, while this figure isn't necessarily one of my favorite characters from Sesame Street, Big Bird is definitely, in my opinion, the best figure out of this set. I love how they have reused these chicken pieces from like the Easter chicks and the chicken CMFs and things like that to do his arms, and the way they've printed his legs as well looks fantastic. And of course, this rubberized head molded piece thingy is just wonderful. It is very, very tall. When you take it away, Big Bird looks absolutely tiny, and you slide it on and he looks perfect. Now, this rubberized piece is actually kind of funny because things like this with like Ahsoka's hair and Baby Yoda's head and even Hagrid's body and pieces like that typically come in a small plastic bag. However, this one didn't. It was just rolling around in the bricks there, which in my case has actually damaged Big Bird's nose. If you look closely on his beak, there is actually a small indent in there, and I noticed this at first and I thought it was some sort of speck until I realized it's actually from the bricks pressing into his rubberized head in the bag, which I'm really annoyed about. I know this is such a tiny thing and from far away you can't tell, but with something like this, I want my figures to be perfect. So I have contacted Lego about it and I'm hoping to get a replacement part from them because that just shouldn't be happening. I might call up customer service as well to kind of talk about it because I definitely think these things should be in those plastic bags, especially when you're paying 120 US, 200 Australian for a set like this. You want these figures to be perfect. Stuff like this is going to be so expensive in a few years' time, 5, 10, 20 years after this set retires. This is going to be very highly sought after stuff, so I want my figures to be perfect. For most people, this probably wouldn't bother them, but it's definitely something I would want to kind of warn you guys on, that Big Bird is not the type of figure that's going to come in a plastic bag. Besides that, I love this figure so much, and I got so excited when I saw it in the bag. It kind of just brought the reality that, yeah, Lego Sesame Street is here. Lego Sesame Street is come to life, and now it means I can make a bunch of Sesame Street memes, which personally I'm very, very excited for. Like, for example, that Big Bird one where he's in the door. I loved that. I love how quickly people made that into a real life Lego meme type of thing. Made me really happy. Good job, guys. Now, next up are personally my least favorite figures out of the series, and that's nothing against them. I just don't really like the characters that much, and that is Burton and Ernie. To me, they don't really stand out, and they're not as iconic. I mean, they're still iconic. I can't not say that, but you kind of get what I mean. Like Cookie Monster, Elmo, Big Bird, like staples. Then it kind of goes Burton and Ernie. But I am really glad with how they turned out, and I think they look really good in this set as well. And, you know, thinking back at it now, there's like tons of good Burton and Ernie memes as well, as long as clips and videos, so it makes me really excited. And I love how these figures turned out. These two are the only ones as well with tongue printing. There's Ernie as well, but we'll take a look at him in a second. And none of the other ones do. I mean, Cookie Monster and Elmo don't typically have tongues printed anyway, but that is something to notice. They also do have their red mouths, and the printing on them is really nice. Although part of me kind of wished Bert looked less happy. I get why he looks happy, but at the same time, I always think back to Bert when I watched Sesame Street when I was younger, and he was always grumpy and had like his mouth closed and looked really annoyed, whereas Ernie was always really happy. So for them to both kind of be smiling ear to ear kind of doesn't feel quite right for Bert, at least. And lastly, we have Ernie, and the same kind of deal with Elmo. I feel like because of the way their head is made and has been printed as well, he looks like he's always looking up. And like I said, in person, definitely not as bad or noticeable, but it is something I want to bring up. Now, I don't know if they could have changed this in any way just by bringing his pupils down or, you know, his entire eye in general. I feel like that would have kind of made it look a bit weird. So probably wouldn't really change that. But other than that, I think Ernie looks amazing as well. I love his jumper print, and honestly, you could just use this as a regular jumper print. I think it just looks really, really cute. The only thing I'd say is missing from Ernie, but this also applies to Bert as well now that I think about it, is arm printing for them and having the stripes continue all the way around. Especially with Ernie, they've definitely done side stripes a lot before. I just feel like that would have given this figure the absolute perfect, like, sealed tick of approval. Although I do get why they didn't do it. These custom molded heads for 5 characters, that is an absolute fortune of molds that they had to do, so I kind of don't blame them for doing arm printing, but then again, that is something I would have really liked to see. While technically not a minifigure, I really did want to talk about Oscar the Grouch as well while we're here, because he is a pretty prominent character featured in the set, and he honestly disappoints me. I think the print is done really nicely, but I just feel like it could have been done better. I really wish they had just a molded head, honestly, kind of like Elmo and Cookie Monster, and then just stick a stud on the top so that you could put the trash lid on the top. I think that would have been so much better, or an actual figure, but these prints and molds are expensive, so I kind of get it. But if we do see more from Sesame Street, which I honestly think we might, considering the Technic Holes on the side of the build, which we will take a look at, I would love to see a proper minifigure Oscar the Grouch. I mean, same with the Count and Grover, who are also notably missing from this set, which now I think about it, it does make sense why they're missing. As much as I did want to see them, and as much as I would have loved to have them in this set, budget-wise, okay, I kind of do get it, I understand. The really strange thing about Oscar, though, is that he's actually one of those round balls that I first saw in the Diagon Alley set that are hanging from the side of Weasley's Wizard Wheezies on top of a green minifigure head, just so that he floats in the trash can, and then on the top he's just got that round tile so that you can kind of just plop him in there and he hangs around. But there is Oscar. So here is the entirety of Sesame Street, and I can't say that it's bigger than I thought it would be because I feel like this is roughly it, but honestly, upon building it, I'm really happy with how this set turned out. I've said this before, that I really don't think that the full scale of that Ideas project, if that was made into an actual set, I don't think this set would sell nearly as well. I just think that is too big, and not enough people, I think, would be able to afford it. And this price range really hits every single demographic that I feel like would be interested in this set and would purchase this set. Taking a look at the set as a whole, Sesame Street is a film set. It's a TV show. So the street technically should be like Diagon Alley, where it's all in one line and not really curved around like this. In saying that, I really like this design. I think the only thing I would kind of complain about is it's this corner here in Hooper's and how it's so open because of the fact that it's at an angle, and this bare bone wall here. The first thing in this set I want to touch on is the Sesame Street lamp. Now this thing is so simple, but it really brings a lot to this set. This is one of the only printed elements in this set, funnily enough, is the Sesame Street sign and the 1, 2, 3 above it, and because that is a 1x1, I'm pretty sure you do get 2 of those in this set. You also get this new crystal ball looking piece, which I absolutely love. Now this is the same piece that is used for Mysterio's helmets, however it is a different color, and might I say, this looks absolutely fantastic. I've seen people put this on their Mysterio figures and it looks incredible. Now this as well I did find on Bricks and Pieces, so if you do want to buy some for yourself from Bricks and Pieces and put them on your Mysterio, it will be on there. I'm not too sure if that's going to be the same one used in 2021 sets, but either way it looks absolutely incredible. And I also love the green lamp post. Now in this set as well, you do get 3 kind of additional side builds that don't really have a place. The first is this Cooking with Oatmeal book, and on the inside it does have the recipe as a sticker card, and it says 1 cup oatmeal, 1 mango and buttermilk, and that you just kind of place near the door according to the instructions. Another one is this mailbox, which I really love the build for. I think it's amazing, and it actually uses syringes for the feet, which, don't get me wrong, looks really cool, but I wish that I could stick this down into my Sesame Street rather than just having it floating around. And the third build is the one I'm most confused by. I don't actually know what this is. I've heard people say that it could be a UFO. To me it also kind of looks like a satellite dish, but also one of those like spinning things that you can just kind of put on the ground and spin around. Like, I can set this down and spin it and it will go off. So I don't actually know what this thing is supposed to be. I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be that, but like, I don't actually know what this build is supposed to represent. It's got a green bar through the middle and 2 of those dish pieces and a thing around the top. Maybe it is a UFO, but the instruction manual does say to put it on the roof, so maybe it's a UFO that crashed into a roof. I don't really remember that being a Sesame Street storyline. If you look through that window very, very faintly and darkly, I've had to move the light in here so you can actually see, there is a spider web and a spider lurking down there. Now it's really hard to see, especially as it is so dark in there, but that does exist at the bottom of the base. So at the bottom all around here, this is all built up, and then you actually have the first floor, and you can kind of see that as you turn the build around, but especially as you turn it round to the back. Now I don't actually know why this is a thing, besides of course the actual design of the building in Sesame Street, but I'm really confused to why there is a spider web with a spider. You can only just see it bit from the front, and I personally feel like it was kind of a waste. It just feels like to me that they threw it in there to kind of increase the piece count, because especially you've got the fire hydrant in front of it, and then you've got this fence, and now you can't really see, and it just feels like an absolute waste to me. But starting off with the actual build, we're going to talk about Big Bird's den, which is so tiny, but I think looks really, really good. On the side of the wall, we do have our one reference to Snuffleupagus, which is a really nice picture. Once you get this little birdhouse of the way, you can see it a bit better, and it does have his name written on it, saying Snuffy, and printed and signed, which is really, really cute. You also have Big Bird's little tub, which on the inside has a brown teddy bear, and you also get Big Bird's roller skates, which is pretty cool. You also get this really nice tree build coming out of the bottom with some really nice bright green leaf pieces, and this little orange box, which honestly I'm not too sure what that is supposed to be. And then on the back, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be Jim Hooper. Taking a look at the front of the building, over on the left we have Oscar the Grouch's little den. Now this is where I kind of get a bit disappointed. I feel like this was shrunk down just a bit too much. One thing I am really happy about and didn't actually notice in the promo images was Squirmy, I'm pretty sure, or it could be Slimy. Oh no, now I'm like stressing about my Sesame Street knowledge. Then of course you've got Oscar himself lurking in the trash can, and then you also have this dark red crate full of a bunch of other trash. These things include a tire, a green like trash bag, and a pizza box. In the corner on the right hand side behind the wall, you do get this little build here, which I'm not too sure exactly what that is supposed to represent, but that does just sit flush in the corner at the back. Up next we have the door to Sesame Street itself, featuring these really nice steps leading up, and I love the way that this was actually built, using the studs not on top method for these pillars here, and having everything smoothed off looks amazing. I also love these lights here, using those pearlescent pieces, which I've first seen in Dots, and they were some of my favorites that I've seen from Dots. Then you also get two brick built green doors that open and close using that stud piece. Now there is this really kind of ugly, weird gap above the doors, which is quite a shame because of the fact that they are brick built. Now, one of the other few printed pieces in this set is that 1, 2, 3 sign above the door. Now, in this front of the build as well, there is a lot of really nice architecture. I love how this front of building is designed. I think the windows look absolutely amazing, and I love how it looks like they're all open by using these tiles on the sides here and just having the windows at the top. Unfortunately, a few of mine look like they've been scratched in the window, so I've got a few marks here and there, which is really frustrating, but luckily you guys can't see that on camera. I also really like all of these banners and like pillars and posters and things like that, and even these two bricks sticking out of the side here, that's amazing, along with the corners and just the top. I think just the architecture alone in this set looks absolutely incredible. Also next to the door you do get a little remote control buzzer thing. Now it was rumored in this set we were supposed to get updated prints of these. Now it's important to note that mine did not come with these, so I don't know if every single set is going to have one right off the bat or if it's going to be introduced slowly but surely. I don't really know, but I definitely have the old design, and not just of that as well, of the milk too, which is sat on this little perch outside the window, which I think looks really nice, and I love how you've got the flowers there sticking out. It just looks really, really pretty. Then when I turn it around, you have the entire inside of the build, and I love how it's not very cluttered, but is still really detailed. That's something I really appreciate about this build. There's a lot of really nice details, but like I said, it's not overpowering. So starting off, we have Elmo's room, and there's this really nice pinboard on the side here, which looks really good. And the pinboard has a lot of really nice references to characters, including those ones that go me. There's that purple guy who I recognize but cannot remember. Then on the left-hand side of the wall, you do have a little phone, and then right at the top above the pinboard as well, there is a little build of a fire alarm, which uses a cherry as the bell, which looks really, really cool. Moving along to the right-hand side, we have Elmo's room, and there's a lot of detail in here for something so simple, and hands down one of my favorite parts about this room is this little train track build that runs underneath Elmo's bed and the little train to go along with it. Now this train reminds me so much of something that you would see in a Lego City advent calendar. I think the build for it is really clever, and I love the bright use of colors in it. Also on the floor you do get a tan bunny, which is the exact same one as shown in the CMF series 20 Pajama Girl, and then at the back you do have a blue cat cabinet, which on the top has a little rocket ship and a translucent clear minifigure head with some printing on it, and that is meant to represent Elmo's fish, Dorothy. Considering that is a really big reference to the TV show Elmo's World, I'm really glad that they put it in because I love Dorothy. She's very, very cute and a big part of Elmo as a character. Speaking of Elmo as a character, you get some really nice stickered prints on the wall, including one of Elmo and his dad, which looks hilarious. It reminds me a lot of that meme where people are saying, I didn't know Elmo's dad was Guy Fieri. Absolutely love that print. You also get one down below, which I believe is Zoe and someone else. I recognize her, cannot remember her name. Then on the far right, you do have Elmo's bed, which is a really, really cute build. I love how this turned out, although looking at it, I'm now worrying that I put the studs on the wrong sides. I don't know. This is how it told me to build it. I should probably check it though, because I'm really starting to get concerned. But I do love the way that they did the pillow and the actual bed itself. I love how the bed frame is blue as well. It just shows how much color and life there is in this set. Moving on to the outside, you have a really nice reference to Abby Cadabby on this stickered print on the wall here, which I love how they have all of the cutouts for the bricks. It looks absolutely amazing. And then you do have this little garden as well, and I love how the colors complement Abby Cadabby too, and you've also got her little pink fairy ones there. When you move up as well, you can see that there is a small fire escape build with a little pot plant on the side as well, giving us some more garden pieces, which looks really cool. And this is all built using a variety of different ladder pieces and skeleton arms and kind of that railing technique that we've seen quite a few times. Then on a 6x6 tile, we also get a really nice big sticker of Biff and Sully's Construction Company, which just saying as well. And because it's a 6x6 tile, I personally think that would look really good on a certain Levi's hoodie of mine. Moving on up to the second level, and we have the room I'd probably say we see the most of besides the actual exterior of the street, and probably Elmo's room, and that is Burton and Ernie's bedroom. And I love how much they were able to fit in such a tiny space in here, starting off with probably my favorite thing out of this level, and that is Ernie's bathtub. I love the build for this bath. I think it's really, really cool, and I love how you've got the translucent tiles on the floor, but you can't really see them unfortunately because of all of the shadows. You also have a space to put Ernie's rubber ducky on the side, which I really, really appreciate. And I love how they've used the gold flowers as the feet. You've also got a lamp using one of those paint rollers, and this blue curtain, which unfortunately doesn't fit flush with the wall. It kind of hangs there and like you could swing it along, but no matter what, it won't fit flush with that wall, which kind of annoys me. It reminds me of the bottom where you do have that awkward gappage. You've got birch chair with a really nice rug, which also leads into that sort of bathroom section with a bath mat here. And on the back wall, you've got a tiny weeny bookshelf. And then on the left-hand side, you've got Burton Ernie's beds with a dinosaur at the top on that shelf, what I imagine to be one of those like magic 8 balls. You also have a box of paper clips, although I'm not too sure why that's there. But I think one of the best things is the sticker of Burton Ernie at the top above that little lamp, which that little lamp also has a really nice build, and I love how they use the Minecraft pieces to make that lampshade. Then at the top of the building, you do get a little bird cage and 2 white birds, a satellite antenna, and a chimney, which I love the build for this. I think it looks really cute, and I love how you've got that white feather flame piece sticking out the top as well for some extra detail. Moving on over, we have hoopers, and honestly, I feel like the best angle to look at this is from the back, because that's where the most amount of detail for this set is. For example, you've got a little street lamp here, you have a little plant building, you have this railing, a chair, a table, you can see the 2 hoopers signs, as well as the little parasol roof and little stickered tile on that wall there, which honestly, you can even barely see from this side. On the top of hoopers as well, you do get a little coffee cup, a $5 coin thing, which once again is using the old print, not the new print, and then you've got the side of the cash register sticking out. At the front of hoopers as well, you do get this little magazine stand, which at the front says the Sesame Street Daily Winter Porridge Shortage, which personally, I didn't know that there was porridge variations in Sesame Street, but you know what? I think this is a very important news article to know, so I'm very glad we get that. But the most important one is on the inside, and it is our only reference to Super Grover. I really wish Super Grover had something bigger and better. Like Abby Cadabby gets an entire wall mural printed for her, but Super Grover only gets a 2x3 stickered
newspaper. Like, that's kind of depressing to me. You then also get a little green door at the front here to welcome you into Hoopers itself, which has a really nice shelf on the back, might I say. You do get some dots prints, which I found to be really interesting, including that unicorn, that little rainbow one here. You do get one of the classic orange juice pieces, and you get this really nice printed peanut bag. At the side as well, you do get the Hoopers sign, which is hung on using these two clips, and I really like the build for this. I'm not too sure why that red bit's sticking out. I imagine it's accurate to the show, but to me it just kind of looks out of place. I also really like this architecture on the window here, using all of these tiled pieces and the gaps, and just the color scheme with the masonry bricks sticking out. This really adds a lot, and like I said, the architecture for Sesame Street is just incredible. You also get some of those sand green pieces at the top to kind of round off the roof, which once again looks incredible. But when we turn the set around, we get a better look at the final room in Sesame Street, which honestly needs to look the best because you can see this from the front. And there's not much to it. It's pretty basic. You get a little footstool, a little yellow chair, this printed like trolley ice cream truck type of thing. You get a gold statue and a gold frog over there, or you also get a gold bowl over here. But one of my favorite things is this little TV stand, including some good old printed VHS tapes and a TV. I love how they put the VHS tapes in there. That looks really cute and definitely reminds me of old school classic Sesame Street. Then on the wall, you get this really lovely print of a Lego Count figure, which looks absolutely fantastic. At the top, you do get a little aircon unit, which looks really cool. I love the build for that, with one of those dial pieces on the sides, and you do also get a bat. I feel like the last thing I forgot to talk about as well is this little fire hydrant, which also kind of brings me into the next thing, was the design of the set itself. So this is built up on place, and you kind of had to construct the whole thing yourself. If I can tilt it over, you can kind of see we've got some magenta plates, some green ones, which I honestly don't know where they were supposed to go. I just kind of stuck them in a random position. Then you've got some blue triangle ones, these yellow ones, and an orange one there, and that's kind of how you build it up instead of using a base plate, which honestly I think is a good thing. I think the base plates would have just been too expensive to include in a set like this. The most important thing to me is this. Now, I've seen a lot of people talk about this, and this is one of the main things that I wanted to talk about as well when I first saw this set, and it is these two Technic holes. Now, we don't usually get things like that. The fact that it is open and exposed, it's not just there for decoration. My money is on a Sesame Street expansion. What that is going to be, I have honestly no idea. I would love like a buildable snuffleupagus and maybe just like a tiny bit extra of Hoopers that I could like attach on in the future. I'd also love to see the Count's organ from the number of the day. That would be really cool. I also know that there's a laundromat stuck next to Hoopers, so maybe we could get that. But in terms of anything else, I don't really know. I feel like there are more minifigures and characters that we could get than buildings. So I don't actually know what we're going to attach here. So there you go, everyone. That is Sesame Street, and I absolutely love this set so much. I knew I'd love it beforehand, and I definitely think the smaller build really benefits this. So overall, if you're looking at Sesame Street and you're wondering if it is good value or not, 100% I would recommend it, even at full retail price. Now, in a few months, I believe it should be around February, this set is probably going to start appearing in regular retail stores, and at that point, you might be able to wait a bit and get lucky and maybe get it for 20% off. I know definitely our retail stores do like a blanket 20% off Lego a lot of the time. So if this pops into like Maya, for example, and I don't think you'd be able to pass it up at that point, at 20% off, this would come down to 160 Australian dollars. And honestly, I would probably buy a second one and either keep it as an investment or open it up and then try and make Sesame Street clothes or maybe add onto it. I'm not too sure, but I can't praise this set enough. It's honestly one of my favorite sets of the year, and I can't wait to put this up on my shelf. Let me know your thoughts on this set down below. Do you like Lego's interpretation of the fan model? And let me know your thoughts on those amazing minifigures as well. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.